Welcome in, guys. Good to see y'all. Man, it's tough to get on some days. I'll tell you what, especially after losses like tonight. Oh my goodness. So, Rangers lose this one 4-3 in the ninth inning. Painful loss in this one, guys. I definitely am a little bit speechless. I'm not going to lie to you. But we're here. We'll break it down. These losses happen over the course of a season. There's a new game tomorrow. That's the beauty of baseball. When I was playing it, when I was younger, that's what I always liked. There's another game the next day or in a couple of days. Just get back on the saddle and keep on going. That's the mentality you got to have after games like tonight. So again, for those of us coming in a little bit later, Rangers lose this one 4-3 in the ninth inning. Absolute heartbreaker, especially when you consider the start that the Rangers got from Nate Eovaldi, which I thought was, once again, just quintessential Evo start. I actually was a little bit disappointed that Bochy took him out when he did. Ended up working out for Robertson to come in. Robertson came in, I think, with first and third with a couple out and was able to make a great pitch, get out of the jam, and he got, I think, a guy to strike out to end that inning. And it looked like it was going great. Seventh inning, though, Robertson comes back in, and the one dude that you just couldn't pitch to tonight was Langoliers. The one guy. He had hit 2 home runs already. He hit his second in the 7th off Robertson to tie the game. Evan Carter hits the home run, the solo shot, to put the Rangers up 3-2. And that was in the 7th inning to answer right back. I love that. Langoliers ties the game in the 7th. Evan Carter responds the very next half inning. That's what you always want to do in baseball. If the other team scores, score right back. Get it back. And the Rangers did that. And then in the 9th inning, Leclerc comes in, gets the first guy to strike out, J.D. Davis, on a fastball, swinging strikeout. And then the one guy that you just couldn't let beat you tonight, Langoliers. And somehow that's the guy that ends up coming through and winning the game for the Athletics. I mean, it's embarrassing anytime you lose to a team that we all know is purposefully tanking. Every season, you just got to come out and call it like what it is. I mean, this team isn't even trying to be competitive this year. I don't care about any of the free agent signings that they did. Obviously, they brought over J.D. Davis, who was on the Mets last year, a couple of years back, and was a pretty good player. But the A's aren't going to be winning more than probably 65 ball games, and even that might be generous. You cannot be losing and dropping games to the A's at home, no less. But I told y'all on the live the past couple of nights, I was just a little bit worried about the A's. The Rangers do this every single year. They just can't seem to completely take care of business against the A's. Usually it's in Oakland. That Coliseum, I feel like, in the 2010s especially, the last, I'm thinking maybe 10, 15 years, that Oakland A's Coliseum just feels like it's been a house of horrors. I mean, any Rangers fan that's been a fan since the Josh Hamilton days, you know what happened way back when in the Coliseum on one of the last days of the season. It's just a house of horrors for the Rangers. But you're in your own ballpark, and you're playing a team that has not been good thus far. I mean, we gave the A's their 4th win of the season. I mean, I'm looking now, surprised to see the A's are actually on a 3-game winning streak. Miracles happen, right? But you can't let the A's beat you in your own park. You just came off a series with Houston where you lost the last 2. You needed a bounce-back game immediately. There was no other perfect pitcher in this rotation to get that win for you than Nate Eovaldi. It is a shame, an absolute shame they wasted that start from him. I'm telling you, I know that people kind of caution getting over dramatic, But these are the kinds of games you look back on. I guarantee you later this season, it's going to be a 1 or 2 game race in the AL West with Houston or with Seattle. It's going to be a 1 or 2 game race. And you're going to look back on games like this and you're going to wish you would have won them. Because I get a lot of people saying, well, it's a 162 game season. Yeah, but it always comes down to a few games at the end of the year. And you cannot be dropping games like this. You just can't. So tomorrow, Thursday, we've got a couple more games against the A's. They need to win these next 2 games. Because then you got Houston. You got Houston next. And you know that they're going to be ready for the Rangers. I don't know what they did today. I'll do a little scoreboard check-in while we're talking. Looks like, thankfully, Houston lost to the Royals today in extra innings. Thankfully. So Houston gains no ground on us. Looks like around the rest of the AL West, we've got the Angels trailing the Rays 4-3. Angels, of course, could take command of first place with a win. They are currently up a half game thanks to our embarrassing loss tonight to the A's. So we'll see how that game turns out. It's in the top of the 5th right now. Again, Rays up 4-3 in Anaheim on the Angels. Looks like the Mariners lost today to the Blue Jays 5-3. So look, there are some positives. I mean, fortunately, we had Mariners, Astros, hopefully Angels losing games today. We know that the A's probably aren't going to be a threat, but I'm worried most about the Mariners and the Astros. Those are the 2 teams I think at the end of the season are going to be competing for wild card for division. I'm telling y'all, it's a long season, yes, but you can't lose games like this. You just can't. Now let's talk about Leclerc, because I know that's going to be the hot topic among Rangers fans. Let's talk some Jose Leclerc right now. Here's what I see as the dilemma. No, you can't continue to let him lose games for you, but I do wonder if they're worried about his psyche a little bit at this point. You need Leclerc down the stretch. You do. The Rangers are not blessed right now with a plethora of just lockdown bullpen arms. I think that Robertson, Yates, Spores obviously is injured right now, but Spores, when healthy, I think all those guys are solid. That's the word I would use. Not elite, not top-notch, not 5-star. They're just solid. They're solid relievers. You need Leclerc to be pitching well for you down the stretch. You can't just ditch him. You can't DFA him. You can't get rid of Leclerc. And I hear some Rangers fans wanting that to happen. I don't know what you're going to do in that bullpen, especially late in the season, if you get rid of Leclerc. So I don't see that happening. I do wonder, again, are they worried about the psyche? It's been 2 weeks since the season started. I think actually not even, right? It's been 12 days since the season started. You demote him right now, what's that going to do for him the rest of the year? I mean, I hate to play the sensitive game, but I really do think that's probably in their mindset a little bit. They don't want to mess with his psyche. And then you just lose a reliever altogether. He gets the yips, loses confidence, whatever the case may be. And now you're basically down another reliever. So I'm not going to be shocked if they stick with him a little bit longer. That's kind of Bochy's MO a little bit. I think Bochy is a mastermind with the pen. I really do. Maddox as well. I want to trust them. I don't think they're going to be going away from Leclerc after tonight. I know a lot of Rangers fans probably would like to see that happen. And look, I wouldn't mind it either myself, just being real. But at the same time, who do you go to? And when they blow a save, then what? Okay, so you put Robertson in there. Robertson blows a save tomorrow night. Then what do you do? Okay, Yates is in there. Then he blows one. What are you going to do? You're just going to keep going through guys. And I think what they would probably strongly prefer is that Leclerc works it out and they can keep all the rest of those guys in those setup type roles. I do think that that's probably what they're going to aim to try and do at this point. Leclerc, I would say, is probably going to, at some point, right the ship, whether that's going to be as a 7th or 8th inning guy. I don't know. Let me check out some of the comments right now. So I got people coming in from pretty much every social. Let me show some of them on the screen. We'll take some comments. It's one of those nights we need to air this all out, Rangers fans. All right. So Rangers, I would love to see them trade for a guy. I would have loved to see that. I think that Hader would have been an ideal guy for the Rangers to get. I know they didn't want to spend big time money on him. That was clear. I mean, that was the whole thing this offseason. So you kind of need a guy that is low cost, that's coming up in the ranks. Now, Clase, I don't know what his contract situation is like, but clearly the Rangers don't want to take on a bunch of money. I mean, that's pretty obvious at this point. But I would have liked to see them trade for a young guy who's still controllable, right? He's not free agent. He's got a few years, maybe 2 years of control left. That would be ideal. I don't know if it's going to happen. Maybe at the trade deadline, like we did with Chapman last year. I could see us going out and getting a guy like that, depending on where the bullpen situation's at. But I don't know. I do agree with this comment for sure, though. They need a guy that is a little more fireball. I think that's a great way to put it. Leclerc, to me, he is definitely a reliever. He can get outs for you. I don't know, and I don't think Leclerc is a closer. He's got high 90s fastball. He's definitely got some good stuff with the off speed, but I just don't see him as a closer. I never really have. He's gotten some saves for us, no doubt. He's closed games for us. He can do it, but he just can't do it very consistently at this point. I agree. No excuses. Evo pitched great. I just don't know if they want to rock the boat at this point with changing closers. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I'm just a little bit worried that they're going to be a little bit gun shy on rocking the boat with the closer situation. Because like I said, you go to somebody else, then they blow a save. Now you're just messing with everybody's confidence levels. I think they're going to just say their prayers that Leclerc works this out. So I'm definitely anxious to see what happens moving forward with Leclerc. More so if he can just figure it out and just get some outs. But I don't know. It's a long season, guys. We're 12 days in. I don't know if you can bench him at this point. I mean, you can clearly, but I just don't know if they will. Now, let's continue on with a couple of other things. And then I'll get back to some other comments. I know I've got a few others that I missed. So really what I want to highlight beyond the bullpen, the offense beyond the first couple of innings and a few home runs here and there. Evan Carter hit a homer. Jonah Heim hit a homer, right? Beyond that, the offense went extremely cold after that first inning. And that's a big problem too, I think. It's been an issue the past couple of games. The bats have gone a little cold, and that doesn't help things. You know, you had a bases loaded situation with no outs. Bases loaded, no outs in the third inning. And you got a great hitter in Garcia coming up, and Garcia isn't able to come through, isn't even able to have a productive out, right? He just hits the little soft chopper back to the pitching mound, comes home, doubles him up at first, and you end up not getting anything out of that. And that was a very painful inning. That was a big moment in the game. The Rangers could have really blown that game open in the third inning, and it didn't happen. That's probably the biggest missed opportunity. I was going back and forth with some of my buddies about the first inning. I didn't love the Josh Smith advance. It was the first inning. Simeon had just been driven home by Smith, and Smith's on first base. Kind of a wild pitch. He gets aggressive, runs to second. I didn't love that. I think you should only be going with no outs and the 3-hole hitter up if you are for sure 100% that you're going to make it there. I didn't love that aggressiveness with no outs in the first inning when you kind of had Wood on the ropes a little bit. Alex Wood, the starter for the A's. Anytime you go first two hitters, boom, boom, back-to-back hits, it rattles the pitcher a little bit. It just does, especially when within the first two batters there's already a run across. I just don't think you can be giving away any outs at that point. You know that you got the pitcher on the ropes in the first inning. Just didn't love that move. I know some people, it just depends on your style and your perspective. I know some people probably love the aggressiveness. I just didn't with Wyatt Langford up. and no outs, runner on first, and Wood is kind of on the ropes. Don't give away any outs. But Garcia, third inning, probably the biggest at bat here, and looked like Evan Carter was going to be the hero. Was really hoping that was going to be the case. First home run of the season for him, and it was just one of those patented Evan Carter swings. Just a nice line drive. I think he had a 103 exit velocity, so hard hit. Just a patented Evan Carter hit, right? I mean, it was good to see him get that. But I'll tell you what, beyond that, there weren't a ton of bright spots on the box score for me. Simeon obviously came through with a couple of hits tonight. Good to see him get going. Was disappointed with his output in the last couple of games of the Astros series, but he was able to come through tonight, get on base for the Rangers pretty consistently. That's good to see. Beyond that, let's just kind of go up and down a little bit more here. We talked about Evo, just a great start from him. He poured in 8 total strikeouts. Last year, he struck out like 12 or 13 against the A's, so I was pretty confident Evo was going to come to play tonight, and he did. Didn't love that they took him out when they did, but he was at 95 pitches. I'm seeing that now. He was getting up there. He wasn't probably going to be pitching the 7th anyways, so it was probably the right time to pull him, but I just didn't love it. Didn't love it. But with that being said, it really comes down to the offense, and you got Simeon and Smith with 2 hits each. You got Langford 1 for 3, and then a lot of zeros, right? Doley was 0 for 4. Heim had a homer, but that was it for tonight. Duran 0 for 2 with 2 walks. He actually had an 11-pitch walk in the 4th inning that I was really impressed with. Then you had Wenzel, I hope I'm saying that right, third baseman, getting his very first game in tonight, 0 for 3. He hit the ball hard 1 or 2 times. Walsh pinch hits for him a little bit later on. And then Leote goes 0 for 3. A lot of 0-fers tonight. Just not going to be a good combo. I feel like sometimes when you've got a great pitcher going, the bats do relax a little bit, and this is what happens. The Rangers should have put the A's away early on in this game, though. If you score some runs in that 3rd inning, who knows how that changes things. But you cannot take at bats. You can't take those situations for granted. Baseball is a tough game. You think that you're going to get more opportunities as the game goes on, but you just never know. So you got to take advantage of those moments. Bases loaded, no outs, to not even get 1 run. I mean, a sac fly, even a ground ball double play to the second baseman, to the shortstop, is going to score 1 run. You've got to score 1 run with bases loaded and no outs. So, a couple other things. Yates, we talked about him a little bit. Really been impressed with Kirby Yates so far. 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. Got J.J. Bleday out on a called fastball. I know there's going to be some people wanting to see Yates. Robertson might be a little bit old news, although he's pitched really well, giving up the home run tonight to Langoliers. I know some people might be doubting Robertson a little bit. I think he's done fine too. I think Robertson's going to continue to be a high leverage guy. But Yates, 1, 2, 3 inning, maybe he's going to be the guy. I don't know. I think they're going to go with Leclerc a few more times and just see if they can get him right. But maybe we'll get that notification at some point tomorrow or the next day. Rangers are going to closer by committee. I've always said that they need to do that, though. I don't really think they need a 9th inning guy, an 8th inning guy, a 7th inning guy. Just mix and match. If you look and Leclerc has good numbers against a few guys coming up in the 9th, I'm not going to be complaining if they threw him out there. I do think that you can easily check matchups and just pitch whoever you want in the 9th. I trust Yates and Robertson as much, if not more so, than I do Leclerc. But I think they're worried about Leclerc's psyche. Don't want to lose a reliever, whatever. I mean, I know that's not what people probably want to hear, but I'm just going to be surprised if they make a move. I hope that they do. I hope that things work out and we can get somebody to actually lock down the end of games. It was so painful. 33 blown saves last year. You have got to figure out closing out games consistently. I mean, they just can't blow 30-plus saves again. And Leclerc was a part of that. He was. Beyond that, Let me look at a couple other things for tomorrow. So as we look at the matchups for tomorrow, another night game. I believe Thursday's kind of the day game getaway. But tomorrow, Rangers are throwing Bradford. He had an outstanding start in his last time out. Of course, he went almost 8 innings, gave up just the 1 run, which was allowed after he was taken out of the game. But Bradford hopefully will have another solid start. And then Stripling is going for Oakland, 0-2 with the 3.75 ERA. Another 7:05 Texas time start. Looks like for the Rangers against Stripling, not a lot of at-bats. Jankowski actually has the most. I don't think Travis is going to be getting the start tomorrow. He's 0 for 10 against Stripling in his career, so not sure that that Jankowski is going to be out there. But looks like Simeon is hitting 429 and 7 at-bats. Smith is 1 for 4. Leote, 1 for 5. And let me see if there's any others. Seager, 1 for 5 as well. Nobody's... Tavares actually has a home run off of him. Okay, so look, kind of a mixed bag. I don't think any of these numbers are overly impressive. Simi probably has the most impressive one, hitting 429. None of the A's guys except for Noda, the first baseman, have seen Bradford. So Bradford's going to be going up against largely a team that has never seen him before. Hopefully that will play to our advantage. That's the hope, at least. So with that being said, we'll have a video out tomorrow previewing the game, previewing the pitching matchups. Our system falls to 6-5 on the season. We still have, I think, about $12 of profit to our name at this point. Betting 1 cent on every Facebook follower that we have. That's kind of the fun thing we're doing this year for those of you that are new to the live. So we'll see if we can get back on track. We were looking real good there for a second, up about $75 before we lost 3 in a row. But you know what? Tomorrow's a new day. That's the beauty of baseball. And I am hopeful that we can get off of this losing streak and get back on track. Rangers really need to take these next 2 games. You want to go into Houston having won the series with the A's, and hopefully some positive momentum carries over into that series. Rangers have played really well in Houston. I definitely feel confident with them going in there. I don't at all feel like it's a series that they're not going to be able to win or be competitive in by any means. I think that they are going to go into Houston and compete, win some games, hopefully. But you don't want to go into Houston having lost 2 out of 3 to the A's, or even worse, having been swept by the A's. That would be obviously worst case scenario. So we'll hope for a new day tomorrow, and we will be back at you after the game tomorrow night as well. Maybe can get in alive after the day game on Thursday, but it might be a little bit delayed. This is not my day job after all, so maybe a little bit later on after the game on Thursday, we'll get in another live too. We're going to try and go live as much as we possibly can after every Rangers game this year. Talk it out, hash it out. Make sure I got to everybody's comments. Yep, a lot of comments about Leclerc and the bullpen. I hope that they can right the ship. I really do. I think that they are going to have a huge problem on their hands if they blow a few more saves here. And definitely you're going to need to go in a different direction. But I'm hopeful Leclerc rights the ship. They're a better team when he's pitching well. And if they don't have Leclerc, they don't have a lot of other options. If you put him totally out of the mix, I think that over the course of a 162-game season, it's going to get dicey. So I hope that they right him. Maddox hopefully can go to the lab, figure out what's going on with him. But if somebody else wants to step up in lockdown games, please. Absolutely. Well, guys, thanks for joining me. Appreciate all y'all. And as we always say, God bless. Go Rangers. Hope all y'all have a good night. And we'll be back at you tomorrow.